Hi there and welcome to Maketember. I have a lot of stuff planned for this month and I'm incredibly excited that you're here. My name is Hamilton Dilbeck and this month I'm going to be releasing a full CNC project video every single day for the month of Maketember, which is of course September. And then on October 1st, which is a Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing a live stream on this YouTube channel where I'll be doing a ton of giveaways, which is only made possible by the incredible supporters of Maketember, which you'll hear more about later. At the very end of October, I'm going to be taking some of these projects and I'm going to be selling them at an artisan's market. I'll be making a full-blown video about that and showing you if it actually sells and how much money I made. So we obviously have a ton of time to go over all the details about this month and next month, but for right now, let's jump into the first project. We're making a bread bow knife. If you don't know what a bread bow knife is, don't worry, I'm about to show you. So it is loading on the controller and this will take 6 minutes and 38 seconds. Remember that, that'll be important for pricing. So this is a Downtown Jenny. It is a 1/4 inch Downshear bit. I put this up against the Amana and in my shop, it's just the best. So I reached out to Cadence Manufacturing and asked them if they would like to be a supporter of Maketember, and they said sure. So more about them later. This is my daily driver, the Downtown Jenny. Let's get it chucked up. We are going to be using this black walnut. Now, I know that some of y'all are thinking they've been around on the channel for a while. Normally, I prototype in white ash, but we're going to be using black walnut today. But don't worry, y'all will be seeing plenty of my white ash later. I use double-sided tape and screws. I know that a lot of people do a lot of different things when it concerns work holding on their bed, but this has been tried and true for me. And honestly, I can't see anything moving around very much at all after doing all this. So when changing your bits, it's always good practice to tap your collet. I'll show you how much dust actually got in there. The Makita is notorious for having slip bits because its collet allows for dust to get up in there. I will have somewhat of a write-up for every single one of these projects in the description below, where you can see the thickness of the material that I'm using, as well as the bits that I'm using, as well as the feeds and speeds of how I'm cutting out the projects. If you just want to know what I've used previously, just look down in the description below. Alright, so I'm going to be using my dust boot because y'all don't need to see profile passes. That's pretty boring. We'll do a time lapse of that, but 6 minutes, 38 seconds. All there's left to do is turn the router on and go. Let me know down in the comments below what type of CNC machine you have, as well as how long you've been running it. So this is Onefinity, and I've had mine for less than a year. My goal is to show people who are brand new to the CNC router world that it's really not that difficult to do, and you don't have to know everything in order to make something. And these two blanks is what we are left with. So I decided to make this in two different styles. One of them will make a lot more sense for tomorrow's project. It kind of matches up with it. And then this one is the more traditional type of a bow knife. I've already shot this video once, but I got a little bit sidetracked and I routed over the edges where the blade itself mounts onto, which resulted in it not sitting perfectly flush to it. I didn't like it, so I'm shooting this entire video all over again. And honestly, I believe that that's something that helps other people who might be interested into getting into the CNC hobby, or maybe even starting their own CNC business like myself, realize, hey, not everything just works out on the first time. Don't get discouraged, keep on going. So for these, I'm gonna be taking my handheld router and putting a 1/4 inch round over bit on it, rounding over all the edges except for where the blades are intersecting, which I'll show you in a second. I'm gonna rub some mineral oil on this, and then we will mount the blades. These are the blades that we're using. These I got off of Amazon. It's a 3-pack and it actually comes with the stainless steel screws. And then this I got off an industrial website, which I'll have linked down below as well. But it comes in a pack of 30 and it makes them cheaper, but they don't include the screws. If you want to save a few bucks, this might work if you already have the screws. The blades off of the 3-pack are the ones that I'll be using in this project today. Here is where we are deciding if it is going to be left-handed or right-handed. This is the left-handed configuration, and then this is the right-handed configuration. You have to think about your loaf of bread being right here, and then how you're cutting it. So if your blade is pointed down right here, this is right-handed. If it is pointed down right here, This is left-handed. So remember that when setting these up. Your blade needs to contact whatever work surface you're working off of, because if you're using this to cut, you want it to be able to cut all the way through the loaf of bread and not leave just the last 1/8 of an inch uncut that you have to rip. So make sure it is contacting all the way down, and then take something like a Sharpie and then mark your hole where you're going to be pre-drilling. So before we install the blades, I'm actually going to be coating this with some mineral oil and make sure that everything looks nice and good before we put the blades on. I'm going to be using mineral oil for the majority of my projects here for Maketember, not only because it is easy and food safe, but because you can have a nice finished product in one day that you're not having to worry about a ton of dry times. Now, if you're interested in these files, make sure to go over to my Etsy, but I'm going to be selling them as individuals and I'm going to be selling them as packages. So individual files, $2.99, I believe. The packages, I'll do day 1 through 10, 11 through 20, and then 21 through 30. And those will be at a discounted rate. And at the very end of the month, I'll be having a complete package of all the files available. I'll be updating my Etsy daily as I update these videos. So yeah, if you're excited about Maketember and you want to support me further, buying those files is by far the best way. I've thought about starting up a Patreon where like the files would just be available to people, but I don't know. If that's something you're interested in, let me know down in the comments down below. Is a way of getting new files is through Patreon for the channel. The only trick to installing these blades is just making sure that you have enough tension on them. So when you're first marking out your hole locations for your screws, just making sure that if you have to choose, go a little bit further out so it's stretching the blade rather than bringing it in and making it all floppy. The area where the blade intercepts, if you just don't round that over, you're going to have a better time. Alright, so I'm going to be talking about pricing. And pricing is something that not a lot of people on YouTube talk about because honestly it's a huge point of contention. Every person is going to charge very different prices based on their clients and what actually they can sell versus the volume of things that they're hoping to sell. All of those things play a huge factor. First, let's talk about just the materials and the time that we have in our project, so what we need in order to break even for it. These are off Amazon. You can get them cheaper in bulk packs, but you also have to buy screws. These are just the Amazon ones. They're $3 to $4 a piece. Let's just call it $3. I used about 1 board foot of walnut for this. If you, in my area, which is North Atlanta, if you walk into any of these stores off the street, Joe Schmo, you do not have an account, you're going to be charging about $12 a board foot for walnut. We were able to get 2 of these. I probably could have stretched it to 3, honestly. So let's say that we were able to get 3 off of this. That is $4 in wood for each of these, and then $3 for the blade. We're at $7 already that we need to sell this for, and just in order to break even. That's where the time on the CNC comes into play. It was 6 minutes and 36 seconds, something close to that. Let's just call it 6 minutes on the CNC. For my shop, I charge $1 a minute on the CNC. So for each of these, that's another $3 that are built into this project. So we have $10 in this that we really need to break even for this project. Do I think that it'll sell for more than $10? Yes. Let's go over the 3 different places that we can actually sell this. I won't go this in depth for every single video explaining these places, but I will talk about my pricing in every single one of these videos. Now, there's 3 different places that you can sell. You can sell in a store locally, you can sell it in person, like at a market like I'll be doing next month, and you can also be selling this online. Online obviously is going to be getting your biggest amount of exposure, but there's a ton of hidden cost with shipping and as well as like paying places like Etsy, that kind of stuff. So we got $10, we need to be able to make a profit. We'll start with selling at a store first. Most stores charge you a percentage in order to put your product in their store. That percentage, honestly, is something that you really need to be thinking about. Locally, around me, from what I've seen, is a fair price is anywhere from 20 to 30%. Let's just say that it's 30%. Now, if you take this to a store and you look at the store owner and you say, I need to get $20 for this, they're going to say, perfect. If they're taking 30%, they're taking $6 of that sale, so you get $14. There's a bunch of tax in there. Who cares about that right now? You're walking away with $4 that you have made off of this project. Sure, you can count the amount of money for the CNC time that we charged as profit in your pocket, and honestly, the majority of the time that will be profit. The amount of money that I charge on the CNC is something that I go to charge for all the consumables. That's tooling, that's consumables for the shop, that's other things like electricity for the shop, as well as insurance for the shop. So you're making $4 off of this. If you're happy with that $4, heck yeah. So the second option is to be able to sell this in person. So this is at an artisan's market. Like I said, I'll be doing an artisan's Parsons Market at the end of next month and making a full-blown video about these projects and if I made any money at all. Because I can sit here all day long and talk about what these will sell for, but I really want to show y'all they actually do sell and you can make money with your CNC. You can pay off your CNC in the course of a month if you do the right stuff. Selling this locally, you want to keep your price low because you're going to be able to keep your profits much higher. If you sell this for $20, you're making $10. Third option is online, somewhere like Etsy. Now, you've got to think about a lot of things. Etsy takes fees, as well as you've got to think about how much it's going to cost to ship. In my experience, this is going to cost around $6 to ship. So the price of that automatically just went to $26. Etsy is going to charge their fees as well. If I was selling this on Etsy, I would be selling this for $30 for free shipping. The other thing that you need to think about with pricing is, what are other people charging? Very rarely are you going to come up with a single item that is not already on Etsy. You're going to have a rendition of that item. You can look up bread bow knife right now on Etsy and see what people are selling these for. You can search bread bow knife on Google right now and you can see all these high-end kitchen suppliers, and they might have something similar to this they're selling for $90. You got to think about who you're selling to, how much they're willing to pay, how much you're willing to work in order to make the amount of money that you're making off of it. I've spent less than an hour and I've been filming and explaining every single thing about this. If I was just walking into the shop and needed to make these, I could make both of these in less than 30 minutes. Are you valuing your time? Are you charging things appropriately? Are you just trying to undercut people in order to get a sale? Are you charging as least as possible and you're going to be stressed out when somebody orders 100 of these and you realize that you're just making $200 and you're working your butt off all weekend? Is that $200 for 100 of these worth it for you? Maybe it is. Everybody's going to have a different stance on that. If you agree with this pricing or disagree, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to be able to hear what you have to say about it because there is a lot of pricing to come. Go ahead and check out all of these Maketember supporters. They are incredible and they will have their links down in the description below. Thank you very much for stopping by the Woodshop today. I'm incredibly excited about all the projects to come. So go ahead and subscribe down below because there is a ton more to go over. I will see y'all in the Woodshop tomorrow. If you're watching this video and you think this guy is an idiot, just know that in a few months I'll be able to actually make stuff and you can go back and look at that and be like, oh wow, if he can do it, I can do it. Simple as that.